gamesmanship. There's all these little petty things that they're arguing about instead of actually putting people back to work through some common sense legislation. And that's what the free trade agreements are.
A lot of working in Congress is building coalitions. It's building support amongst people throughout Congress that are like-minded. Is there enough of that? I mean, is there any possibility at all of that happening?
Well, I don't think if you send people who've been groomed through the system, who know how to play the political games, who know how to take care of their special interests, who know how to just be party loyalists, I don't think you're going to see a change. And that's why my candidacy is something that the voters are getting very excited about, because I don't come through the system. I'm not a former lawyer turned politician. I'm just a small business owner who has fortunately had some success with the work of a lot of great people around me who understand some key fundamental economic principles. And we need that kind of mindset, that kind of discipline, that kind of temperament in Washington today. And I would add, you know, I shared with you the number of clients we have around the country, 400 organizations we've worked with in 16 years, who go all the way to Tualatin, Oregon to get advice on how to run a better business. Well, when I visit with these clients, whether they be in New York City or St. Louis or Los Angeles, I don't ask them, hey, by the way, before we get to work, are you a Democrat or Republican? I don't care, Tom. I just want to know, what's the goal? What are the obstacles in front of us? What are the resources we have to be successful? Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get something done. And we are at that point in this country.
I want to move on to something else that's key for a lot of people, and it's all of the countries that we are currently at war in, you know, at one point or another. Some of the Democrats that are running for this position have said, look, you know, we need an exit strategy, and here's our exit strategy. We pull out now. We leave as soon as possible. I've had a problem with this whole deal from the start personally because I've never seen a strategy, period, other than, you know, an entry strategy. Okay, we're pretty good at that. But getting back out again has been bad. From a philosophical standpoint, as a congressman, what would, if you were called upon to make a decision about sending troops in harm's way, what would you have to have? What would be the pieces that you would need to make that decision?
I have the benefit now of hindsight. And that is, just as you said, there has to be a clear strategic reason for entry, and there has to be a clear exit strategy. And we haven't seen that in the last 10 years in this country, and we're suffering because of it. We also have to recognize when I talk about the entrance strategy, what is the real reason we're going? Are we nation building? Are we preventing further attacks on our country? We need to come to some agreement, and Congress needs to be a part of that dialogue and not be obstructionist. At the same time, I've got to say, because it's very much on my mind right now, when these good veterans and their families are done with their service, what I'm very committed to is to make sure they have a place to go find work when they come home. There's got to be a stepping stone from helmet to hard hat, or whatever line of work they want to pursue. And we're not seeing that today. Our veterans are suffering from a greater unemployment rate than any other sector as far as particular industry or skill set. That should not be the case. They have sacrificed. Some of them have sacrificed everything. Their families have gone without. They've sacrificed. And I believe they need to be, if you will, kind of ushered towards the front of the line and given opportunities for employment, whether we need to retrain them, whether we need to build bridges between them and the hiring community. There needs to be more activity and more advocacy for those veterans who have done so much for our country.
We're talking with Rob Cornilles. He's running for 1st District U.S. Congress, again, replacing David Wu. Key to some of this job business, of course, is having the skill set, the education, the training, the background. Where are you at on education? What's your position there in terms of how to accomplish it?
You bet. Well, I absolutely agree with you. In fact, if I may, again, our small business, one of the things we do is we educate people who don't have the requisite skills to work in their desired field. They went through college, and yet they're still unemployed. I have 2 boys in college right now. I do not want them to graduate and have to come back and live in the basement. I want them to be productive. So I have a great passion for educating people and giving them what's necessary so they can have a career, not just a job, but a career. And it starts in our K through 12. We have to be very smart in how we utilize the limited resources we have right now as a country. And one of the investments we definitely need to be making is in education. We need to make sure that states and districts are left alone to utilize their resources to do what they think is best to educate their kids of that area. I don't believe federal mandates in education are working right now. I really trust the local community to know best how to educate their kids. And then we need to have institutions of higher learning, especially in this state, where kids not only want to go, but actually want to stay upon graduation. I'm tired of our young people graduating and having to go to Nevada, or maybe Nevada's a bad example with their unemployment rate, but they go to Texas or Idaho or somewhere else to find a career. We need to make sure there are opportunities here. And once again, we have vibrant companies here, large and small, that we need to be creating greater partnerships with so that they have trust that our kids are educated in the skills necessary for them to be hired here. And we have tremendous opportunities, but we need leaders who understand how to bridge those groups together.
We've been talking with Rob Cornilles, 1st District Congress is what he's running for on the Republican side, and I want to thank you for spending some time with us today.
You bet, Tom. Thank you.
We could easily spend the entire morning.
Well, let's do it again.
I would encourage all of you to hit the website and get a much bigger picture of all the various issues, because Mr. Cornilles has, as I mentioned before, written extensively about his feelings about the national debt, about taxes, about a balanced budget, more details on the importance of education and how to approach it, the healthcare system. That's another morning all by itself. If you want more information, it's CornelliesForCongress.com, and we've got a link directly on our website at KAST1370.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.